Hi, my fellow Roswell friends. It's Kurt Wilson, your mayor of Roswell. It's Tuesday, May the 2nd, here about 9 o'clock in the morning, and enjoying the winter solstice that's here, hitting us here in May. I'm here in the fantastic, lovely, beautiful heart of Roswell Park. And I want to talk to you about a couple of things today and share with you a little bit some of the thoughts of our city leadership from our city staff and talent and our city council and myself. And for about 16 months, we've been working on all kinds of projects that we believe in the long-term best interest of the city. One of those is last year, you probably remember, right here where I'm almost sitting, we moved the Christmas tree lighting. After many, many years of having the Christmas tree lighting, we did something that was somewhat perhaps not met with 100% unified joy. We moved the Christmas tree light to right here at the heart of Roswell Park last December. And going from historically about 250 people attending the Christmas tree lighting, last year we had over 4,000 people. It was an amazing success. I will tell you, it was met with some opposition when we brought the idea up. And we recognize that being your elected representatives, that we're responsible for making decisions and we're responsible for leading. And even though sometimes there may be some differences of opinion, at the end of the day, we understand that one of the things that's important to the city is to get this city moving forward and stopping paralysis by analysis. So the reason I'm here at the heart of Roswell Park is I want to introduce an ideal to you. You may have seen it. And basically, it's what I call the Canton Street District, or what we call the Canton Street District. So first thing we're going to do is standing here at the heart of Roswell Park, the city, along with some very, very, very cool private folks, are coming up with plans right now to redesign the heart of Roswell Park to make it much more family-friendly and user-friendly. The other part of that is the bigger vision is to activate this area, and I'm going to walk it here in a minute, is to activate it as the Canton Street District. And you say, why would we want to do that? Well, the principal reason is we want to continue to activate the things that are working and making them even better from a quality of life perspective for the entire community and especially for our businesses. You know, I'm a small business guy. I've been a small business guy for 25 years. I relate to small business people. And I can tell you that anything we do, we think about how it's going to impact our businesses, because I feel a personal responsibility and accountability for the success of our businesses and putting as many things in place to help businesses to succeed. And I will tell you, as we talk about this plan a little bit, there's been a little bit of some challenges with it. And so one of the things that I want to let everybody know is our door is always open. We want to talk. We want to stay engaged. We want to get it right. It's not a unilateral process. But I also want to share with you that the Canton Street District is a long-term vision. It's not just about reimagining the heart of Roswell Park. I'm going to go ahead and share with you long-term. It's about really creating a promenade here on Canton Street, like Barcelona, with pavers, and literally taking the traffic out from Highway 9 to East Alley in the first iteration. When the parking lot's done in 2 years, there'll be a second phase going to Norcross Street. There's a lot of pieces of that equation. Obviously, me trying to give you all that to you to consume in a short video is difficult. But we have been discussing this for over 16 months as one of the many plans that we have for the city. So the first thing I want to share with you is right now we're working on redesigning and investing the heart of Roswell Park. I want to tell you that what our belief and our dream is the best thing for the quality of life for the entire city of Roswell, and activating this district even more and bringing more people to these businesses is creating what we call the Canton Street District. And I'm going to walk in here in a minute. I'm here with two of my colleagues, part of the leadership of our city. My good friend and council member, Lee Hills.
Morning, Mayor.
And my good friend and colleague, the pro tem council member, Christine Hall.
Good morning.
And I always get your names wrong because of the Hall and the Hills.
Twins.
And they're wearing Roswell colors because the Roswell High School girls team is in the state finals tomorrow at McKeachin High School. 5 o'clock Friday. Don't forget that.
Women's soccer.
That's right. But we're here to talk about Canton Street District and what's here. It's about activating this district. But I also want to tell you that as elected leadership, it's not just about activation. It's about the responsibilities we have to the city long term. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and 20 years from now. So you're going to see some traffic here. We're going to walk it. That's starting to die down. But I'm one of those people that drives this street in the morning. I love this street. Who doesn't love driving down Canton Street? It's awesome. But I have to tell you that one of the concerns that I have, Christine, one of the concerns that I have, Lee, is all it takes is one pedestrian death. All it takes is one car veering off into one of these restaurants or these buildings one time, and the business of Canton Street is no more. The success of Canton Street is no more. And I will tell you, I feel a very serious responsibility to these businesses, long-term, to our community, long-term, is that safety is a serious part of this equation. But the real vision for this, obviously, is creating this and activating it, like, what do you and I call it? Barcelona. Making this a promenade long-term. And so what we've come up with is a short-term trial, to say, let's try it on a temporary basis during the summer when traffic's down, to say, does this work? Because, and I will say, if this hurts our businesses, we all will call it off. Because the last thing we want to do is to hurt any of our businesses here in Roswell.
That's right.
So, sorry to interrupt you, Christine, but please go ahead.
No, I just wanted to share. Many of us were active in the strategic planning process. It started in 2017-18, and this area had a lot of dots for requesting pedestrian activity and the vision of making it a pedestrian area with tables and umbrellas where people can bring their families and enjoy the restaurants and enjoy the heart of Roswell Park.
And part of the plan, the temporary plan, is as part of shutting down this small area of Canton Street, not the whole part of Canton Street. But let's go walk what we're talking about. So we're talking about from Highway 9 here at the edge of Rock and Taco, obviously Elizabeth Way. And by the way, there's 39 spaces in the area that we're talking about that'll be eliminated, 39 parking spaces. So Elizabeth Way would become part of the closed off section. And obviously this part of Canton Street from Highway 9 to what we call East Alley. And why is that important in the temporary basis? Because in the temporary basis, if we close it on the weekends, and by the way, just as an aside, just to tell you about the serious level of engagement, my chief of staff, Jamie Guzzetti, went to some very important people. This great restaurant in 1920 owned by Jenna and Howard, met with them on Saturday night. I went back myself, went with Jenna and Howard on Sunday and said, guys, tell me about your concerns. Tell me what's got you worried about this. And we listened. And so out of that, they said, look, would you consider maybe not doing it all week long? Would you look at doing it on the weekends? And I said, you know what? We can do that. Let me go back and see if that's okay with the council. And we went back yesterday. Jamie went back, talked with everybody in the council and said, hey guys, I know we got our plan to do this for the entire summer from Memorial Day to week before school starts. By the way, this is East Alley, Ben. So this is ostensibly, originally we were looking at doing it to Webb Street. Now we're looking at doing the East Alley. And one of the reasons is one of the restaurant owners here, Steve Rockland, said, if you leave it at East Alley here in the temporary basis, it will not affect deliveries. Deliveries can still happen in the same manner, shape, and form. The other thing is doing on Saturday and Sundays, and again, I'm very sensitive to this as a food and beverage operator, is Saturday and Sunday. Sunday deliveries are obviously very, very seldom. Saturday deliveries, most of them are going to happen back here on Webb or behind in the alley. And Steve said, leaving this open will keep the delivery train open. So we said, okay, we can do that. So, based upon some consultation with Jenna and Howard from 1920, Steve Rockland, we said, all right, guys, we can make some we can adapt and we can make some changes to our plan. And I want to say is that we're willing to keep doing that and have discussion because we want to do what's in the best interest of all our businesses here in our Canton Street district, but also in the best interest of our community. And I'll say again, there are some overriding factors because I don't have to tell you that literally I have a responsibility for the public safety. And all it takes is one pedestrian. And anybody who's driven up here, down here enough to knows that's not out of the realm of possibility. And if that happens, all bets are off about what happens down at Canton Street. So I think from two very important perspectives, long-term visioneering, which is kind of like the Christmas tree, which you guys, Lee, you led the charge last year. You said, we're going to move the Christmas tree. That's right. And we took a lot of heat for that. And there were some businesses here that were unhappy with us, right? By the way, I'll bring something else up. thanks to Christine this year, she's kind of uncovered some of the problems with Alive in Roswell. And you say, what's wrong with Alive in Roswell? Nothing, it's fantastic. But what we learned was we had some policies in the past, right, that were not favorable to some of our brick and mortar businesses here on Canton Street. And thanks to Christine's leadership and Jeff Leatherman's and some other folks unpacking that and meeting with business owners and say, how do we need to change this so your businesses don't get hurt in Alive in Roswell? Because our interest is in serving and making sure your businesses grow. That's why we want tables in the street when we close on the weekends, so there can be more tabletops, i.e. more customers to serve, i.e. more sales, more transactions. So there are a lot of pieces of the equation. There's a lot of things to talk about. But I think most importantly is I want everybody to know is we want to stay engaged and we want to stay in conversation with all of our friends, with all of our great stewards of this city, because it's about making Roswell the absolute best it can be. And, sometimes a little bit of transition is always tough. And you probably have noticed that in the city, a lot of times in the past, things haven't gotten done because there was enough discord that people said, we can't move forward. And I will tell you that I feel a responsibility that we've got to change that. And I think you've seen this group of elected leadership do that over this past year, where they said, you know what? Hey, not everybody's always going to be happy with us, but we got to do what we believe is in the best interest of the city for the next 20 years. That's what we got elected to do. We didn't get elected to be popular. We didn't get elected to get Facebook likes. We got elected to listen, to be engaged, but to make decisions and to be responsible about those decisions. And so I want to tell you is that this plan has been in action for 16 months, like a lot of plans. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, we wanted to move the farmers market to Canton Street. Christine led the charge on that. We met with the Canton Street business owners, right? Some were for it, some were opposed. We said, all right, we're not squared enough away on the plan, we'll back off. So I want to give that as a perfect example. We do listen, we do stay engaged. And by the way, closing this Canton Street district, but by the way, here at East Alley to Highway 9 and including Elizabeth Way, that's what we're talking about, the Canton Street district, for now. But I do want to be clear. I don't want you to have any illusions. I don't want to be tricky. The long-term vision is to create this as a promenade like Barcelona. The long-term vision. The long-term vision is to change Canton Street Park, the heart of Roswell Park, and magnificently make it a dramatically different space for more people to use this. And by the way, you probably know, we've opened up the parking at City Hall. Both sides of the building are now open because we want to activate as many parking areas. So literally, City Hall is open for parking now in a way that it's never been open. This parking garage, we are working on it at light speed. It'll be open in 2 years. So Lee, Canton Street Activation District. There's a lot of pieces of that. Can you tell us about some of the other pieces?
Absolutely. And to your point of pedestrian friendly and the overwhelming responses that we've had, I would say a third of the emails that we get, maybe more, pertain directly to getting to the historic district, walking, biking, golf carting, with a stroller, however they want to get here besides a car. And so we're currently working on the Pine Grove Road, which is not far from here, putting in a multi-use trail there that's underway. We're working on plantation parks, gardens at Smith Plantation as far as walk paths, more well-lit paths that you can use to actually see our historic assets while you're on your way to the historic district. The parking deck will be conveniently located. Again, walkability here to Canton Street so that you have a destination. You can spend time here visiting. With the heart of Roswell Park opening up, people can come, pack a picnic, grab a lunch, have their favorite lemonade here on Canton Street, and just spend the entire day. I was on the street here on Sunday from 7:30 in the morning until 4:45 in the afternoon. I ate here, I drank here, I talked here, I visited here, I saw people I haven't seen in ages, and that's exactly what people think about and want here in Roswell. And so I'm very excited about the prospect of trying on this new promenade aspect of our historic district in Canton Street, and hopefully that'll grow into something that we're world renowned for.
That's awesome, Lee. And it's just a tip of the iceberg.
It is, and just as you saw, many of the people I spoke with on Sunday complained about what I'm having to speak over right now. Humongous trucks while you're sitting exactly where I would be in proximity to the street. You can't hear your neighbor while you're speaking across the table. You can't hear your server who's dying to serve you and take good care of you in Southern hospitality style here on Canton Street. And so we have different sort of motor vehicles right on your ear while you're trying to relax and unwind from a busy day doing your work, live, play here in Roswell.
You reminded me, so, we do so much, I forget about so many things. So people say, well, why now? Why now? Well, what's interesting was it came about because of complaints right behind us there.
True.
So and by the way, we all like motorcycles, got nothing against motorcycles,
Right.
but we kept getting complaints about the loudness of the motorcycles parking right here. And we said, as we started solving for that, we said, why are we solving for that part of the problem when we already are working on the bigger stuff? Why don't we just go ahead and start activating the bigger stuff? That's kind of where this timing came from, because literally we were solving for a little problem. We said, we already know what needs to happen. We believe what needs to happen for this area for the long term, what's in the best interest of the businesses, what's in the best interest of the community. We already believe that. So we said, why are we solving for a little problem when why don't we start getting real and let's do a trial and see if we're right or wrong. And this is what, remember, this is a trial. The Canton Street district closing on weekends from Memorial Day to the week before school starts is a trial. And you have my word on it. If businesses are being hurt because we're shutting down the Canton Street district, we won't continue to do that. We're not in the business to hurt businesses. We're in the business to help businesses grow. That's what we're about. And to that point, I want you to talk a little bit about economic development.
So from an economic development perspective, this is something that happened during the pandemic across America. You saw cities shut down their streets and make them pedestrian, just because, as we all know, there were orders that didn't allow inside dining. Cities like Laguna Beach, California, all the way to Wellesley, Massachusetts, outside of Boston, have had such tremendous success that they have continued this and are looking at other opportunities to enhance other areas of their towns. So this is something that is viewed across the country as an economic driver for cities and for businesses.
One of the things we talk about, so we talk about a lot of things. We talk about the end in mind. What does it look like 20 years from now? We talk about what's the quality of life and putting KPIs to that. But one of the things we do talk about, and this is in your world of expertise working for CLA, we talk about money. We talk about values. We talk about that one of our jobs as public servants is that we need to bring greater value from an economic perspective to the individual homeowner and to the business owner. To the business owner that has a business and the business owner who has the property. And that we're going to outpace even our tremendous sister cities on value returned to investors. That is, I buy a home and I buy here, my property value is going to grow more in Roswell over the next 20 years than even these fantastic sister cities. Talk about economic development. And you and I know we have a ton of stuff we're working here on Highway 9, right? And so all of this stuff assiduously attacks the value in a very positive way. Like it's improving the value. A developer says, oh, you've got that. Again, it attacks it from the standpoint of quality of life. That's a community I want to be in. You got this amazing Canton Street. It's organic. Why aren't you guys doing something about that? Why aren't you as a city improving the district? As you said, Christine, cities all over the country figured out and said, wait a minute, we got something cool. Let's improve it. Can we bring more business to these businesses? Which is part of the equation. And by the way, I'm not going to leave this alone. Public safety is a real issue. I'm not going to have an accident and have somebody killed on Canton Street, which is a very real probability. And all of a sudden, all these businesses are impacted. And all the joy and life that we have here, boom, done. It's a big issue. Bottom line, we're excited about this. I hope you're excited about it. I've gotten a lot of calls, a lot of texts, had some meetings. Not everybody's happy about it. Some people are super happy about it. Some people love it. Some people aren't. But we want to stay in discussion with everybody about it. So that's it. Feel free. You want to come talk? We're all available anytime. Thanks. God bless. I hope it's just a little insight into the Canton Street District Plan. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.